The New York Rangers defeat the San Jose Sharks 2-1. A game where the Rangers deserved to win. They did. And it wasn't the lack of goal scoring is a concern for me. Even though the Rangers, they outshot the Sharks 43 to 23. They found a way to win in the third period, and that's all good. But the Rangers, like I said, they are spotty, and they've had moments where they've exploded for a lot of goals, but more so than not, they struggle to score 5-on-5. Now, they did the winning goal, Julien Gauthier. This was a face-off win, 5-on-5 goal. And the Sharks have a really good penalty kill, best in the league. And the Rangers' power play wasn't horrible. It did go 0 for 3, but mostly good. At the end of the game, the very end was disappointing. It's like that third period, 19 great minutes, then one really ugly one where the Rangers should have had it easily, and they almost lost the game. I mean, Shesterkin makes a great save on, I believe, Couture to hold it at 2-1. But Julien Gauthier, he scores that game-winning goal. It was a deflection off a shot by Jacob Trouba, so give Trouba credit for the shot, going through. Like I said, face-off win by Ryan Carpenter, Miller to Trouba, and Gauthier with deflection. And Gauthier continues to contribute. And that's obviously a huge goal. He drew another penalty in this game early in the first period. And it's not like Gauthier is playing that much. Really, this was not a game where Gallant really rolled four lines. The kid line played substantially more than the fourth line. Fourth line would kind of get he would roll three, and every now and then he would roll the fourth line. And you know what? The fourth line looked pretty good. And it just goes to show you take Ryan Reeves off that fourth line, and it's pretty effective. I think that it could use some tweaks, ideally, but Blais, Carpenter, Gauthier as a fourth line, not terrible. And to be honest with you, you got to think about moving Gauthier up. The problem is they really don't trust him defensively. I don't think that'll ever change. But you have to weigh options, and Gauthier is definitely an offensive force. Now, if you just moved him on that Panarin line, how would that work? I don't know, honestly. Panarin, he might nullify. It may not be a good combination, to be honest. But, there's other options that could be in play. Look, it's not as if Jimmy Vesey's a staple with Zibanejad and Kreider, but that's a conversation for another day. But Gauthier, it's just impressive what he's done. This was someone who cleared waivers. He was sent, he had to go through waivers and was sent down, and the Rangers are very lucky that happened, because if that happened now, he'd easily be claimed. Dryden Hunt was claimed, and Gauthier was not at the time, and now he's up here pretty much for good. Now, as the season wears on, and could he be a healthy scratch? Of course, I could definitely see that, but as of right now, no, not even close. And so Kravtsov is going to stay on the bench for now. And certainly Ryan Reeves is. To me, it's two different situations, right? Kravtsov's more top six, profile, whereas Reeves is obviously bottom six. But, I think that Kravtsov is closer to cracking the lineup. Look, Ryan Reeves, and I'm not upset by this. And there is a purpose for him, but I just don't think that the money, what Reeves is paid, it's not worth it for him to be on the roster. But I understand the morale, even him not playing, there's probably something to be said for that. But still, I'm happy that Ryan Reeves is out of this lineup, as it makes the fourth line better. There was one lineup change, as I thought might happen. Zach Jones was in for Libor Hayek. Zach Jones was okay in this game. Jones Schneider was all right, and I would expect Jones to play next game as well, but that could be something that really changes frequently between Jones and Hayek. It's still not an ideal situation, but this is what it was. And, the next game's against the Kings, and then you have the Ducks the next night. And, I think if things go poorly against the Kings, and look, the Rangers are going to struggle to score goals in that game. If that ends up in a loss, you might just see the other player play that next game. And then, in fact, that could mean, someone like Kravtsov coming in. Really, Carpenter would probably be the one, definitely would be the one that would be on the outs. If someone were to be scratched, Carpenter, I think, would be that next guy. But again, even he did well, and he had that key face-off win. He did take the one Ranger penalty. This was also the return of Barclay Goodrow. I hadn't thought about that. That Goodrow had not been back to San Jose. So I guess, which makes me think, I guess last year, he must have been hurt. COVID was going around a little bit too. Yeah. might have been a COVID thing, right? When the Rangers had that COVID bump, because I know Gallant wasn't in there. So I guess, yeah, Goodrow, and I wasn't sure maybe when he was traded to Tampa in right in the 2020 season, if he somehow was in, played against him. It didn't happen. Goodrow had the Game 7 overtime winner against Vegas, who was coached by Gerard Gallant at the time, in 2019. So fond memories there. Look, Barclay Goodrow, as much as we think of him with the Lightning winning 2 cups, he was with the Sharks for about 6 years. Broke in with the San Jose Sharks, so they gave him a nice tribute. And Goodrow, he is what he is. He's versatile. Ideally, he shouldn't really be playing with Panarin and Trocheck, but that's where they're at right now. But the Rangers played really well, and there's not a whole lot to say in terms of going into the play-by-play of the game. James Reimer was really good. And I guess it's nice to beat David Quinn. Not that as I said in the last episode where the Rangers lost to the Sharks, for me, there's no, ill feelings towards David Quinn at all. But it is nice. You don't want to lose to them twice. That first game was a game the Rangers really should have won. San Jose is not a very good hockey team. So the Rangers, they got the result. It was frustrating that it took as long as it did. But they got what they needed. Like I said, first period, Steven Lorentz, former Carolina Hurricane, and also Julien Gauthier, former Carolina Hurricane, is tripped by Lorentz. And so at 2:48, Rangers get a power play. They were 0 for 3 tonight on the power play. Rangers' first period, I thought, was pretty strong. It was. Definitely, technically speaking, their second period was probably their worst, but it was fine. This was not like the Kraken game. But the Rangers' first period was really strong. Carpenter takes a boarding penalty at the end of the first. It looked bad. I don't think Carpenter, the intent, Quinn was looking for a 5-minute penalty. It was not that. But I think 2 minutes is about right. It didn't look good. I don't think Carpenter, the timing wasn't quite there. He's not a dirty player. But boarding on Carpenter, Rangers kill that off at the start of the second. And then they get a couple more power plays that they're unsuccessful on, as Adam Fox is held by Timo Meier at 6:16. And then Kakko is held by Nick Bonino at 15:42. So kid line was okay. And Kakko is just, he's not a goal scorer. It's a lot of bad luck, but Kakko is not a goal scorer. You start to, look, this is Kakko's 4th season, and I think that he can be and is an effective NHL player. There's a lot that he brings to the table. Whereas Alexis Lafreniere, and theoretically Lafreniere, there's more upside. What are we really seeing from Lafreniere? Not a whole lot. When I evaluate the 3 kids, and Hedl, if we want to, Hedl is still young. Philip Hedl is definitely the most seasoned, and Hedl looks the most, to me, composed and consistent among the 3. But Kakko brings a lot of good things to the table. It's very frustrating that the results aren't there. And in part, I blame him. In part, I just, it's a little bit of bad luck, I guess. But Lafreniere, I need to see a lot more from him. Really, really do. So we head to the third tied, and that's 11 of the 19 Ranger games this year have been tie going to the third. That's a tough place to be. Now, last year, the Rangers were excellent when tie going to the third, but a lot of the times they were leading, right? And so this year, they've only led in, I think, maybe 4 of the 19. Games are usually tied. Rangers have been playing in a lot of close games all season long, but luckily the Rangers are able to get it done in this one. It was a really strong third period by the Rangers. A lot of chances all over the place. I still think that, Artemi Panarin, it's been a struggle. It has. I thought Zibanejad was a tick-off tonight. I know that Zibanejad had 8 shots on goal, but I thought Zibanejad was slightly off. Not for lack of effort. Panarin is more of a frustration, but Rangers had a lot of chances, and they finally score with about 6 minutes left in regulation. Face-off win by Carpenter. It goes to K'Andre Miller. He passes it to Trouba. It's a one-time slap shot, and it's deflected in by Julien Gauthier. 3rd goal of the season for Goats. Gives Rangers a 1-0 lead, and that was really, really big. It's really big for them to get contributions, and Gauthier just continues to come through. It's really good to see. I think for him, he views this as his last chance, because when he was sent down, it probably felt at that point, all right, it's kind of amazing that Julien Gauthier is still with the Rangers organization. There were plenty of times, and and part of it was lack of interest from other teams. You look at the Seattle Kraken expansion draft, and they took Colin Blackwell. it just, and Gauthier, there was rumors that he had requested a trade, and I can understand why. Like, that could be true. And here he is. It's just one of those. It's a cool story where the smart money would have told you, yeah, Gauthier would probably go elsewhere, not really have a whole lot of success elsewhere, but this is an NHL talent, definitely. I mean, the size and speed is there. So Gauthier scores, makes it 1-0. Then the Rangers almost made it 2-0. Jimmy Vesey, I wish he was a little bit quicker on the shot. It was a nice save by Reimer, but Vesey had a chance to make it 2-0, didn't. Eventually, the Rangers do a nice job defensively, and they do score an empty net goal. Adam Fox extends his point streak to 8 games. So, luckily for that empty net goal, the Fox streak continues. 6th goal of the season for Fox from Zibanejad and Vesey. And before this, Kreider passed up an open net to pass it to Vesey, who had an off angle. I don't know why. Kreider sometimes with these empty net situations is really driving me nuts. But they score the goal there. But then they put on the kid line, which I'm all right with in a 2-goal game. Look, I was a proponent of give them chances. And there was a line change. It wasn't the full kid line that was still on. Trouba, and I don't know where the other defenseman was. It was a bad situation where Trouba makes a bad play and kind of puts himself out of position. I think he was looking for the bank off the boards. I don't know what was going on there, but it ends up with an easy goal for Logan Couture. His 9th goal of the season. So the captain scores for the Sharks, assisted by Hurdle and Meyer, with a little more than 15 seconds left in the third. So, all right, Rangers should still be okay, but no. They almost tied the game late, where the Rangers, they win the faceoff, which almost hurt them. They won the faceoff, and they weren't really smart with it. They gave it up pretty quickly, and the Sharks, they went down, and Couture almost scored again with 4 seconds left, but Shesterkin made a great save. Miller and Fox were on at this point with Goodrow, Zibanejad, and Carpenter, and that would have been really, really bad. They kind of swept it under the rug. Like, it wasn't really. It was bad enough where they should have asked Gallant, hey, like, what happened there at the end of the game? That was not good. They kind of took their foot off the gas, but they win the game 2-1. And then again, they deserve to win just because of that bad last stretch. They still deserve to win. They improved to 9-6-4, and now they head to LA. And they'll take on the Kings and the Ducks. I'm confident that they can beat the Ducks. They showed that. The Ducks are really one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Look, Vetrano scored last game. You'll have some former Rangers that'll be pumped up, but it's different. It's the second game against the Rangers. And the Ducks can score goals. There's talent there. But my point is this. The Kings one I know is going to be difficult. It's going to be low scoring. The Rangers are going to have a tough time scoring goals. They're going to have to grind that one out. I hope that Shesterkin's in that. We've seen some funky business where Halak played against Nashville, where I would have went Shesterkin. It's kind of a similar situation here. So I would personally go Igor versus the Kings and Halak versus the Ducks. I really think that you want to find perfection versus the Kings. It's a situation where you're actually more likely to give up more goals versus the Ducks, but that's all right because I think you can score the goals yourself. Whereas I think any one mistake could cost you. We'll see what they do. And if they go the other way, it's not a huge deal, but I hope it's Igor, then Halak. Back-to-back nights. Would love to get 3 out of 4 points there. So the Rangers are now, like I said, the goal for me was 5 or 6. And one more win does it. And I think one more win should happen. It should. But West Coast game, it's never easy. But let's see. Rangers-Kings will be a challenge. I'm thinking back to last year where the Rangers, they might have been shut. And again, COVID was bad. The Vegas game was really bad last year. But I think the King game, the Rangers might have gotten 1 goal. I think they might have been down 2-0, and they got 1 goal late. And we know that they're pretty stingy defensively. So it'll be a challenge, but the Rangers, they're playing a little bit better. I still feel like there's more to give, and there's more production to be had, but it's all right. This is a step in the right direction. Rangers win it 2-1 at San Jose.